Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today we'll be dealing with the chapter Medicine and Society. This chapter is very long, but the stuff that we have to remember is pretty short in proportions. So let's go. So we start with the social context of medicine, community health, clinical medicine, and epidemiology. Then we move on to social and behavioral sciences, which deal with economics, political science, sociology, social psychology, and anthropology. We then learn the definition of sociology and the specializations with respect to medical sociology and the various concepts that it deals with of society, community, social structure and social institutions, role of an individual in society, socialism, socialization, social control mechanism, customs, culture, acculturation, standard of living, dynamics of social change, social stress, problems, pathology and surveys, case study, field study, communication, and social defense. So now I'm going to circle the important topics in this chapter. Rest of them, honestly, you can just skip it. So moving on to psychology, we see the dynamics of behavior in health, illness, and treatment, how it affects the physical, organic, and intellectual responses, aspects of the response to treatment, and causes influencing psychology like environmental stimuli, emotions, needs, motivation, and intellectual perception. And also examine the process of making adjustments and how it affects unconscious behavior and how various emotions are brought about, specifically ones like fear, anger, anxiety, and happiness, the role of emotions in health and disease, what's a psychosocial illness, and how it interferes with routine activities and interactions, and of course, how to control emotions, which is honestly better learned with experience than from a textbook. Then we also see the process of motivation. What are the needs that influence motivation, like biological, social, economic, and ego integrative behavior, and incentives, legislation, observation, and errors in perception, and also attitudes, opinions, and beliefs and interests. Then, ironically, we have the process of learning in a textbook. So, what are the conditions affecting learning, like intelligence, age, learning situation, motivation, which is very important, and mental health, which is also equally important. And then, types of learning, like cognitive, affective, and psychomotor. Cognitive deals with knowledge, affective deals with attitudes, and psychomotor deals with skills. And how habits are formed, and how it can cause frustration and conflicts, and what are the defense mechanisms to deal with frustration and conflicts, like rationalization, projection, that's the blame game, and then compensation, and then escape mechanisms, displacement, and regression. Then we have personality and the various aspects of personality like physical, emotional, intelligence, and behavior, what are traits and how they all develop, along with character and will, thinking, and problem solving. We then move on to intelligence, mental age, and what is the intelligence quotient or IQ, which is basically your mental age by chronological age into 100, along with how IQ is graded, along with various IQ tests and measurement of intellectual disability. Then we have social psychology, in which we have group behavior, group morale, and social interactions. Then the responsibility of an individual in society, and then social organization. What are the types of social organization? It can be by family, by religion, caste, temporary social groups like crowds or mobs, and then permanent spatial groups, and government and political organizations. Then we examine the definition of a family, the life cycle of a family, which is basically formation, extension, then complete extension, then contraction, completed contraction, and dissolution. And the types of families that are nuclear, joint, and three generational families. These are frequently asked in Viva about family, so better to read this part properly. Then the functions of a family like residence, division of labor, child rearing, socialization, economic functions, and social care. The function of a family in health and disease involve child rearing, socialization, personality formation, care of dependents, namely the injured, those who are pregnant and lactating, and the aged or handicapped, stabilization of adult personalities, familial susceptibilities, broken families, and problem families. There are various cultural factors that can affect how a family responds to a disease, like etiology and cure, like supernatural elements like divine wrath, breach of taboo, past sins, and possession, and physical factors like weather, water, and impure blood. Then environmental sanitation, which include excreta disposal, waste disposal, water supply and housing, food habits, MCH, that's maternal and child health care, which have good, bad, and uncertain customs. And then personal hygiene like oral hygiene, bathing, shaving, smoking, purda, sheep, shoes, and circumcision. And of course, sex and marriage. We then see the community organization into caste, religion, and income and occupation, and rural and urban. Then there's stuff about social mobility and social class, which is an oversimplification of the complex situation of society right now. So you wouldn't lose anything by skipping it, honestly. Then occupational classification, other measures of social differentiation, and the socio-economic status scales like the Kupaswamy scale, which we would use frequently in comment postings, and wealth index, social class, and health. Kupaswamy classification is used in other postings as well, so wouldn't hurt to focus on that a bit. Then we have hospital sociology, in which we have the social situation of a hospital, including the medical profession, medical care, is it an industry? Then specialization, and the doctor-patient and doctor-nurse relationships, sick role, medical social work and social worker, then medical and social ethics, and Consumer Protection Act or COBRA. And then there's stuff about interviewing, the kinds of interviews and the steps to interview, like the kinds involve direct or structural, non-directive or unstructural, and focused interviews. If you want, read this for outcome, otherwise skip it. Then there's operational research, phases and research teams, and then various social problems that plague our society like prostitution, juvenile delinquency, the dowry system, drug addiction, alcohol abuse, and unmarried mothers. It also lists handicap as a problem, which I disagree with, because we should work on integrating those who are handicapped into society instead of labeling them as a problem. And then we have social agencies and community services, economics, industrialization, economic levels, GDP, GNP, NNP, GDP, NNP, and market price, which are honestly just civics topics. And then there's an important note on poverty, in which you have to know the global hunger index and what is hidden hunger, and various definitions of hunger, malnutrition, undernutrition, micronutrient deficiency or hidden hunger, undernourishment, and overnutrition. And then short note on reproductive health and poverty reduction. We then see the definition of social security, and then we see the various social security schemes. This is what can be frequently asked in exam sometimes, like to list the social security schemes. So we have schemes for industrial workers, civil servants, and public schemes. For civil servants, we have the central government health scheme, pension, gratuity, and provident funds, etc. For industrial workers, we have Workmen's Compensation Act, Employee State Insurance Act, Central Maternity Benefit Act, Family Pension Scheme, Employee Provident Fund and Miscellaneous Provision Act, and Payment of Gratuity Act. And then public, we have LIC, and public other provident funds and ESI as well. So that brings us to an end of this chapter. I hope this is helpful. Any suggestions, you can comment down below. Please like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and see you soon.